Hi again then guys, and welcome to the fourth installment of Ultimate Exotics on Forza Horizon 3 in particular, the review series for the top tier exotic vehicles, be it supercars, hypercars, even megacars, as Koenigsegg of course calls the one-to-one. Now this vehicle is more a hypercar than a supercar, the Bugatti Veyron, in particular the Veyron Supersport, the world record holding vehicle, seen here in more normal colours. And the question is, we all know that the Veyron is quick in a straight line, but can it be competitive enough around corners as well to truly take on other supercars in the game? Because for sheer numbers, the Veyron has never had a problem. Even in its original form, it led the pack in terms of mainstream supercar on paper spec and performance, and of course the Supersport just took it to the next level. So is it still the big bad Veyron, or has it quite simply been surpassed by stuff like the Hennessy, the Koenigsegg, various others as well? Well, the biggest thing working against the Veyron is its weight. It's a very heavy car. Very heavy even for a supercar at 1.8 tons. It's lighter than the normal Veyron, but not by much. And that does work against it. The fact that it's also all-wheel drive has its drawbacks. Of course, it's fantastic off the line, it helps to get the power down, and even off-road it's a fantastic car. But for top-end cornering, any vehicle with all-wheel drive is going to have a little bit of a disadvantage in manoeuvrability, and you can definitely feel that. If you convert it to rear-wheel drive, it becomes better in that regard, but you just cannot get the fully tuned 1400 horsepower down without rampant wheel spin. So to really see how it compares to the other cars which we've already reviewed in this series and that we will review as well, let's break the car down into our 5 categories: handling, acceleration, top end speed, value for money, and then kind of tied into value for money is usability. How versatile is the car in terms of its class, the racing that you can use it for, that kind of good stuff. Well, first of all, we have the handling. And for the Veyron, I'm going to give it a 3. It's not a bad handling car by any means, but it is big, it is heavy, and it is, as we mentioned earlier, all-wheel drive. And in a car that's already big and heavy, all-wheel drive isn't necessarily always an advantage to have, since a lighter vehicle can be improved in terms of control, something like a Hennessy Venom or an SSC Ultimate Aero, but with a car that's already got that weight there, it doesn't always help. So overall, it's a 3 from me. As far as acceleration goes, it's pretty obvious, but I'm giving it a full 5. And I'm not just giving it a 5 because Veyron, it's just legitimately one of the fastest accelerating cars in the game. And the real clincher as to why I'm giving it a full 5 is a similar way to the Tesla in terms of acceleration, and that is, you don't even need to do anything to it. It's already one of the quickest in the game, and that improves value for money down the line as well. Likewise, in terms of top-end speed, I'm also giving it another 5, but an even stronger 5, I would say, because although for acceleration there are quicker supercars like the Hennessy or the Koenigsegg one-to-one, in terms of top speed, they all pretty much break even. They all do around 270, and although some can be bumped up a little bit higher, the difference between them doesn't change much. And with the Veyron, even when you bump it up to over 1400 horsepower, you don't really change the top-end speed that much. So it's a pretty easy and consistent 5. As far as value for money goes, I'm giving it a 3. Again, like with the handling, it's not bad, but at 2.2 million credits, there are quite simply better value supercars out there. Even some of the ones which we mentioned, like the Hennessy Venom. It's a much cheaper car which delivers similar straight line performance, it's much lighter, and beyond that, even vehicles which aren't hypercars or megacars, something like a Noble M600 for instance, it's so much cheaper and gives you fantastic performance. Something like an Ultima GTR can match the Veyron and sometimes even beat it in a straight line for a much lower price. And finally, for the usability, which as we said earlier is more about the kind of versatile nature that the car does or doesn't have, and for the Veyron I'm going to give it another 3 in that regard, because it can definitely win you races. It's great for drag racing, it's great for top end racing, it's great for any track which allows you to use that massive straight line power and torque which it has, but on tracks which require more cornering ability, especially if you're talking stuff like rallycross, well then be careful, because although it's good off-road, it can quite easily be outmaneuvered even by cars with far less power and maybe even far slower straight line numbers. Something like a lightweight track day special like an Ariel Atom can quite easily outmaneuver a Veyron. So it's quite simply not the most usable of supercars or hypercars, but at the same time you can use it to win some events. And overall that means that I'm giving the Veyron Super Sport an overall score of still a pretty decent 76. But that's it for this pick overall. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.